Welcome to the Rock Solid Families podcast. I am Linda Hutchinson here with all girls today. Woo, woo, woo. I don't know what we're going to call this, but maybe girl power or something.
Yeah, girl power half hour.
Yeah, all I know is Merle's not here, so we're going to be good. So, No, I am here with two of our staff from the Rock Solid Families team. I got Bridget Price here, who is our assistant director, and one of our life coaches, our adolescent specialists, and Jenna Hilton, who is our marketing director and our administrative assistant. So, ladies, welcome to the Rock Solid Families podcast.
Thank you. My second time.
Yeah.
Yes, me too. Second time.
Exactly. Yeah. So we've skedaddled Merle out of here. So we're hoping to make this a regular episode where we kind of come at it and let these ladies kind of have their time. But I want to know, like, you guys have been plotting a little bit. Why did you guys want to do this podcast? Tell me a little bit why you wanted to be on.
Well, Bridget really came up with the idea, and I was on board with it.
I feel like you can definitely talk about like the logistics, data background on like the viewers kind of thing.
Yeah, I have that insight, the statistics of who watches our podcast, who visits our social media page and stuff like that. But so we have been noticing that a lot of the people that watch the videos or visit us on social media are from a generation around ours. So millennial.
Okay. What are you saying? What are you saying, Jenna? Go ahead. Just say it. Just say it.
Or a younger generation.
Younger generation. Okay. Yeah. Because you could both be my daughter. So,
Yes.
So, Bridget, how about for you? Why did you feel like it was important to kind of come on and have a voice here?
Yeah, I feel like when I started working here, that was something I was excited to learn more about the podcast, and specifically starting like a podcast with our age as well, because when I think in our local communities, I don't know of any, that's really stepping into that. Of course, there's some that I listen to that are like really well-known authors and podcasters, but just thinking like local, where we're talking the talk that people can relate to, I feel like is a gap in our area. So that's why we're wanting to step into that.
So let's just get the elephant out of the room, okay? And you keep saying your generation. So like, how old are you guys? Like, what year did you graduate from high school?
I graduated in 2011.
2011.
From high school, yes.
From high school.
And we were just talking, like, it's this coming spring will mark 10 years that I've been out of college, and it feels like it was 3 years ago. So it's just...
Okay, so 2011 makes you how old?
I am 31. I'll be 32 at the end of this year.
Okay.
And I am 30. I graduated in 2012. Oh my gosh. So we are very close in age.
You are our son's age.
Yeah.
He graduated in 2012. So I agree. I think that there's a really important need there. Like you said, there is a gap. We are grandparents. Merle and I are not just adults and parents, but we're grandparents. And so that's one of the reasons why we hired you, Bridget, because all the women I work with, a lot of them are young adults. A lot of them are young moms. Some of them are teenagers or, fresh out of college or in college. And so I feel like there is a really important need there of really ministering to these young moms, these young adult women. So, and they're a huge part of our listening, right? Our listeners.
They are.
So let's get into a little bit of who Jenna and Bridget are. So tell us a little bit about you and your family.
Okay, I'll go first. So I am a born and raised West Sider, West Side, best side. My husband is a born and raised East Sider.
Ooh.
So we have the West Side, East Side thing. And
How's that work?
Well, we always give each other a hard time, like, oh, it's that East Side education or it's that West Side education, just little digs here and there. But it is nice to have family all over town. So we do kind of get to know the West Side, the East Side, and then now Indiana. So it's been nice. And his parents gave us a hard time for moving even further west.
Over to the God's country, we call
they said
it.
It was like we were moving to Illinois, but really we're only like 15 minutes further than what we were at our first house.
Well,
so.
I came from Northern Kentucky, and when I moved to Indiana, my mom said we moved to Russia. So, at least you're still in the United States.
So we've been in Indiana for about 3 years. We have one son. He is 6. I'm a UC grad, which Merle gives me a hard time because
I was going to say, we already
these
talked
two
about this one.
and Merle all have degrees from NKU, and I do not.
Norsemen.
Yes.
Norse women. I don't know.
So I'm surprised he even let me on the podcast being a Bearcat. But
yeah, we don't hold that against you.
Yeah, but no, me and my family, we just like to travel, go different places together. Me and my husband have visited 7 national parks together, and my son's been to a couple of them with us.
So is that a bucket list thing you're doing?
It is,
okay.
yep.
Cool.
And we just like to hang out, off-road, hang out with our friends and family.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Bridget, how about you?
I would say we do not have a bucket list like that, but that's really cool. So I grew up in Versailles, Indiana, and now I live in Batesville. My husband, Garrett, is from Batesville, Indiana. So we give each other a hard time just from being like from Versailles versus Batesville. Like growing up in Versailles, everyone hated Batesville. And
which is so weird if people are outside Indiana, they have no idea what that means. But,
I always said when I started working here that I thought I knew Cincinnati because I knew where Target was, Costco, and I don't know any of these places that you guys talk about from the west side.
That is so funny.
Yeah, so my husband and I have been married. It'll be 6 years in November, and we have a daughter, Berkeley, who is going to be 4 coming up this week. And I'm trying to think, when you were saying like things you guys like to do for fun, I feel like we really like just being outside together. I'm trying to talk my husband into going camping together, so that's on my personal bucket list. I would say just spending time outside together. And recently Berkeley's getting old enough where she really likes playing board games, so we do that together a lot. And yeah.
So it's funny you talked about bucket lists and camping, because part of our bucket list is to see as many campsite or state parks and camping, different places. And we want to put a little sticker on the back of our little new camper. And so Merle has this bucket list that he wants to ride his bike in every state in the country. And so he's been checking off. We checked off 6 states this summer, which was really cool for him to do. And I'm like a sag wagon. So it's fun. It's fun as a mom. It's fun as a couple, as a family, to have goals, to have dreams. We've wanted a camper. We had a camper for years, and then our kids got so busy, and then now we're kind of into that transition again. So to have a camper and be able to do that is fun. So so you guys mentioned some of your interests, some of your hikes, and hobbies. So tell us a little bit about what you see this Girl Power Half Hour being, like some of the topics that you want to reach out to and connect with our listeners with.
You can go first.
Well, I feel like also just something to be aware of when you're listening to this. We would love suggestions as well, and we'll probably hit on that again. But we spent some time recently just trying to brainstorm some topics that we've gone through or we're going through, or we have friends who are going through that. And so some of the big ones that came up were just kind of like a lot with social media at times, like just feeling inadequate with social media and what the Bible says about that, like hitting on that, trusting God in difficult seasons. I feel like we've talked through that a little bit. One thing that we thought would be really fun, since we both have a child, is to have one that's just funny parenting fails, like, and make it a little lighthearted at times too. But you can share some other ones that we're thinking.
Yeah. So another one that, another topic we wanted to touch on was the importance of Christian community. Because I did not grow up having Christian community. I didn't become a Christian until probably my mid-20s, early to mid-20s. So just talking about the impact that has. And then also just talking about teaching our kids about Jesus in everyday moments. So whether it's praying with them, or if something happens at school and you're like, hey, like, what does the Bible say about that? How can we approach that with our kids to make it not just a biblical lesson, but a life application?
Can I tell you, ladies, that I volunteer at the Eve Center. I volunteer at the Pregnancy Center. I work with women every day, moms, young and old. And can I just tell you, our women are starving for healthy community. And so what would be some advice to women out there who are hungry for that, who are needing that? They know they need it. They just don't know where to start. What would you suggest?
I would say, like, one thing that's really helped me is if you're not plugged into a church, getting plugged into a church is a great place to start. But usually within those churches, you're going to have smaller communities, such as whether it's small groups, our church calls them life groups. And we've got a group for almost everyone. I've been in the women's group where I was the youngest one by 20, 30 years.
Yes.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
I've been in mom's small groups. I've been in women's small groups. And it just makes your church home feel so much smaller because you're getting connected with all these people.
Yeah.
And it really helps you realize that the same things that you are walking through or struggling with, other people are too. So you don't feel as, maybe left out, alone.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you realize that there is support there to help you.
You know, Jenna, I think you bring up a good point there. You know, there's a lot of women out there that are listening that don't have life groups, that don't have even young families. They might be the only one with a baby or a child. And so, you know, I do remember my very first women's Bible study was with Betty Plunkett. She was the sweetest older lady. And she was 20, 30 years older than me. But I learned so much from her.
Yep.
And she loved on me. She would bring us lunch and little baked goods. And she'd invite us over to her house and she'd pray over me. And, you know, there wasn't a mom my age in there, but I felt loved and I felt connected. And I felt like if I needed somebody, I could go to her and talk to these other ladies. And so it doesn't have to be all ladies in their 30s, right? Or 20s or whatever, or everybody that has a baby. It's just community.
Yep.
And it could be older women.
I feel like what I would add in onto that too is just challenge yourself to be vulnerable. Like I feel like when we're coming to this podcast, we're promising you that we're going to be vulnerable. We'll let you into times in our life where we might not have handled it correctly or what God was showing us. And we're mentioning these topics, but we absolutely are listening to God too on if he puts something on our hearts of like, this is what you need to talk about. That's what we'll come to the table with. Yep. But I feel like even with the clients that we work with too, who don't have community, what are the lies that you're believing about yourself and the walls you have up that is making you not be vulnerable? Yep. And I feel like spending time just thinking about that, because even if you're not connected to a church, I'm sure you have a neighbor, I'm sure you have someone, or even you're going to a coffee shop where you can let your guard down just a smidge and try to get to know someone, and that could lead to a whole nother conversation. So I feel like that is something that I would challenge you with, is just to be a little vulnerable and put yourself out there just a little bit, because I really feel like God comes through in those little God winks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I love that.
I will say, I have unintentionally met so many good Christian women at our local coffee shop. Like shout out Kendra and Jennifer and Sarah. Like
at ours.
Yeah, like I have met so many women just casually in conversation that I didn't know were Christian, and here we are all in each other's corner.
Yeah, we have a local coffee shop that literally has women meeting there doing Bible studies. And sometimes just being there, reading a book, or being there, you know, doing your work or something could really connect you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just being vulnerable and just introducing yourself, or just overhearing that they're doing a Bible study. And, you know, I think that getting around where the women are that you want to be like, you know, that really kind of ends up rubbing off.
And I feel like I just think like you have nothing to lose, truly. You know, like if you know what it feels like to be in the season that you're in right now, and you probably want better. We all want a little better. So you have nothing to lose to step out a little bit and say hi to someone.
Yeah. So, you know, I remember when my guys were young, I remember being a stay-at-home mom and literally going nuts. I'm such an extrovert that having a baby that doesn't talk back, you know, I was like, okay, I got to go find somebody. And I remember going to the local library story time, you know, and our child wasn't even old enough to sit up, and I'm going to the story time and trying to meet other moms, right? Or a playground and they aren't even running or walking yet, but I'm at the playground. And so trying to go where women are, trying to go where other believers are it's really important to do. So So what we're going to try to do is make this a regular episode for our ladies, our moms, our women, and we really want your input. So we first of all need to name for your
Yes,
group here.
yeah.
You know, you guys are like a girl band or something. You know,
Yes.
girl power.
Girl Power Half Hour is pretty catchy, but I feel like we need more. You know?
Yeah, we can do a little better maybe.
So comment in this show. Let us know what a suggestion would be for Bridget and Jenna. Maybe we should do like the B&J or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know.
But we want God in there somewhere. So it's part of the Rock Solid Families podcast still.
Yep.
Send us topics. These
Yes.
ladies are going to kind of chime in on what you want to hear them kind of talk about. And honestly, spread the word. We are going to
Yes.
put this show in our Healthy Moms Facebook group. And if you're not part of our Healthy Moms Facebook group, join in. If you're not part of Facebook, then maybe we can create an email group
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
something
that's cool.
to send it out that way. So let us know. Jenna is the one that gets all those contacts. Woo, woo. So go to rocksolidfamilies.org and you can kind of check out what we're doing at Rock Solid, but also connect with us that way, whether it be email or phone call or whatever. So,
And I should know this, but I'm using me as being new as an excuse. Can they sign up for the newsletter on our website?
Yes, they
okay, then
can.
we could add it in that way
Yep, we
too.
can add it to the
Okay,
newsletter.
good.
Yeah.
However you want to get it, just let me know.
Yes, we will get it to
Let
you.
me know.
and if you call the office, you may be, getting one of these ladies.
Yes.
So let's talk about, as we close here, like what would be just some advice that you would give our listeners. By the way, if you're a man listening, maybe you have a woman in your life that you can share this with, because let's face it, when mama's not happy, no one's happy. And so if mama is like me, when I was a stay-at-home mom, feeling very lonely, feeling disconnected, I needed support. I needed this girl power time where I felt like I could belong to somewhere. So we want to connect you. I would love for us on the Healthy Moms Facebook group just to connect. Maybe you're looking for a play group, right?
Yeah.
Or looking for women that will do a Bible study together, or, just advice, whatever that is. We want that to be a place where you can feel safe to share.
Yes.
Yep.
So advice, what would be something for a woman out there who is really needing connecting, as we're kind of closing out, what would be some words of encouragement to them today?
I think kind of what Bridget already discussed, just being vulnerable and putting yourself out there with other people.
Yeah, I feel like something I'm trying to do now, because when I was working in the school system, I would have to wake up early, get to work really early, and now I'm really taking advantage of sleeping in, and I've kind of just like eliminated my good morning routine of like waking up early, spending time with Jesus before my daughter wakes up. So I'm personally trying to like come back with that morning routine again. So I feel like another advice that we would give is just like carve out time to spend time with God, whether that's listening to worship music, like just sitting in silence and asking him what he has to share with you that day. And don't feel guilty about carving out time to like go for a walk or do something for yourself. I feel like mom guilt, a whole nother topic we could probably talk about. But
one of the biggest things as a young believer, and I was 30 years old when I gave my life to Christ, and I had grown up in the church, but really never had a relationship with Christ. I had a religion. And so at age 30, I kind of surrendered that. And honestly, I was a teacher. And so I felt kind of like bad that I didn't have a relationship, and I didn't even know where to begin. So I kind of faked it. I pretended like I did. And because of that, I really built this wall up with people. Like, oh, I know that, or I got that, or I can do that. And when you're vulnerable and when you're honestly like, this is a Bible, I don't even know how to use it. Or I don't even know where to begin in my walk with Christ or how to connect with other women. Man, when I finally let the wall down and was just honest, I had so many people love on me. I had so many people, they didn't judge me. They didn't make fun of me. I felt so like I could let the mask off and I could just be real. I cried and I confessed, and that's where I really connected with other women. So I would just say out there, if you're just watching behind a screen because you're afraid to connect with real people, that's the way the enemy wants you to live.
Exactly.
He wants you to live in hiding. He wants you to live in isolation. He wants you to feel disconnected and unloved and unsupported. And that's not what God wants for you.
Right. Yep.
That's why you guys have this burning passion for these women on the other side of that screen.
Yeah.
I do feel like I have to say, like what Kenda said to me in the Eve Center training the other day. No, it wasn't Kenda. It was Cindy, who founded the Eve Center. She said, Satan talks to us in question marks, but God talks to us in periods. And I just feel like that was so good. Like when you're having that thought of like, oh, well, no one will like me. That's a question mark. So that's Satan, you know,
that's
like
good. Yeah.
God does not want us to be isolated. Any thoughts of fear and doubt are straight from Satan as well. So I just feel like she said that, and that stuck with me so much because I'm coming out of a season where I was so absorbed by question marks, you know? So
yeah, that's a good point. And you bring up the Eve Center. And so if you live in the greater Cincinnati area, Ohio area, we just want you to get connected to support. Places where you can feel encouraged and connected. And so the Eve Center is one of those. It's a peer support organization for women. It is free. There are offices all over the Cincinnati tri-state area where you can get that support, whatever season you're in, whether you're coming out of a divorce or an abusive relationship or maybe abortion or grief or just wanting to be connected and feeling isolated. Please look up the evecenter.org. It is a great organization, as well as our pregnancy centers. If you're a young mom and you feel unsupported there, again, look up pregnancy centers and you can find someone who will love on you, who will walk alongside you. You don't have to just sit in your house or in your car listening to a podcast. You can connect with a real life human being. And that's what Rock Solid Families is all about, connecting and walking alongside you. So if we can be of help as a coach, whether it be, you know, you as an individual, you as a couple, you as a family, reach out to us at rocksolidfamilies.org. And ladies, can I just tell you, one of the greatest blessings in 2024 is hiring both of you. And
you're too sweet.
It's been so cool to have you on staff and part of the team, and just the whole desire to reach out to women and wanting to connect with moms, even though you are telling us basically that we're too old to connect. But no, there's a great need. There's a great need, and I know that women will be encouraged by you. So thank you for just being a part of our team. So any final words before I close this out?
Thanks for not putting us too much on the spot.
Yeah.
We weren't sure
I
what
was kind of like telling
ask.
him like, don't worry, I'll take care of it.
I did feel a little unprepared, but
Yeah.
I do appreciate not being put on the spot.
And we do kind of like the fact that Merle's not around, you know?
Yeah, we want you to come back to more of them.
Girl power. Woo,
yes,
woo.
it's not just going to be just us two.
Yeah.
You're allowed to come back.
Well, and he is the producer, so we kind of need Merle.
Yes, we need him to start and end.
He's the tech guy. So anyway, we thank you so much for listening. And again, if this resonates with you, please keep following us. We're going to do this probably monthly, where these ladies will come on probably at the end of the month and just kind of share their hearts and something new. So we hope that you'll come back and connect with us again. You can always go back and listen to our old shows at rocksolidfamilies.org. Just hit the podcast. You can also check us out online at the YouTube page.
And Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
There you go. Our marketing director says Spotify and Apple Podcasts, you know, so it's all available. We'd love to connect. We want to walk alongside you. You're not alone. And so we thank you so much for listening to the Rock Solid Families podcast, the Girl Power Half Hour. Woo, woo. And so we're just building a stronger community, one family, one woman at a time. Make it a great day.
Rock Solid Families wants to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions for sponsoring the Rock Solid Families podcast. Casey's has grown to be one of the largest and most unique garden centers and gift shops in the Cincinnati tri-state area. Whether you are looking to take on that next landscape project or simply add a little home decor to your house, Casey's has you covered. Located at 21481 State Line Road, Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Call them today at 812-537-3800. Let Casey's help you add beauty to your home. Rock Solid Families wants to thank Maxwell Construction for sponsoring the Rock Solid Families podcast. For over 30 years, Maxwell Construction has been a leader in turning dreams into realities, building schools, banks, restaurants, and many other commercial and public facilities. Maxwell Construction has made it their priority to not just build buildings, but to build into their community. So if you have any construction needs, call them at 812-537-2200.
Rock Solid Families would like to thank Hoosier Ice House for being a proud sponsor of the Rock Solid Families podcast. In the heart of historic Lawrenceburg, Indiana, the Ice House is at the corner of Vine and High Streets. The historic building evokes a feeling of comfort with spacious indoor and outdoor dining, a large bar, and comfortable dining areas. Large enough to host parties, yet intimate enough to feel like your favorite neighborhood restaurant. So thank you again for the Hoosier Ice House for sponsoring the Rock Solid Families podcast.